What if the moment you fall asleep is not a descent into unconsciousness, but a return to your origin? What if closing your eyes is not a retreat from reality, but a re-entry into the vast spiritual matrix that holds the true blueprint of your being? Modern science speaks of sleep in terms of brainwaves and neural cycles, REM, non-REM, synaptic repair. But these are merely the mechanics of the machine. They do not explain the traveler within the machine, the self that detaches, explores, remembers, forgets, and sometimes returns transformed. That traveler is you, not the persona you perform during the day, but the deeper consciousness, the one that has no name, no gender, no boundary. For ancient civilizations, sleep was sacred. In the mystery schools of Egypt, neophytes would enter dream temples to receive healing and guidance from divine beings during induced sleep. The Greeks called this practice incubation, a night of intentional rest within sacred spaces to access messages from the divine. The Vedic texts describe yoga nidra, the yogic sleep, as a state between waking and dreaming where the soul communes directly with the cosmos. To these cultures, sleep was never seen as a shutdown. It was an initiation, a journey inward and outward at once. The idea that you lose consciousness at night would have seemed not just incorrect, but absurd. Because to them, sleep was not the absence of awareness. It was the unplugging from illusion. At the center of this mystery is the pineal gland, often called the seat of the soul. René Descartes believed it was the place where the soul met the body. In esoteric traditions, it is the eye that sees when your physical eyes are closed. The pineal gland is activated during deep states of meditation and sleep, secreting melatonin and dimethyltryptamine, DMT, a substance many mystics believe is the biochemical gateway to spiritual realms. In dreams, visions, and near-death experiences, the pineal gland plays a central role in shifting our perception from material to metaphysical. As your body relaxes and your brain shifts into theta and then delta frequencies, your consciousness naturally detaches from the physical shell. What happens next depends on your energetic state. Some will drift into fragmented dreams. Others, those more attuned to their inner world, may begin to access levels of reality that exist beyond time, beyond form. Esoteric schools speak of the silver cord, a luminous thread that connects your astral body to your physical body. It is through this cord that life force continues to flow even as the soul explores the astral realm. This concept is echoed in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 12:6, where it is written, "Before the silver cord is severed, and the spirit returns to God who gave it." In other words, the silver cord is your tether to life, a link that allows your consciousness to journey far and still return. So where do you go? That depends on who you are, and more importantly, how you vibrate. Here, we must acknowledge a core law of the universe, the law of vibration. Everything is energy, and every thought, feeling, and intention you carry has a vibrational signature. As you fall asleep, you don't simply drift, you align. The frequency you emit determines the dimension you enter. Fear lowers your vibration and attracts lower astral environments. Peace, gratitude, and love lift you to higher realms, where insight and healing flow more freely. This is why spiritual masters across cultures have always emphasized preparing for sleep with the same reverence as prayer or meditation. What you think, what you feel, and what you consume before sleep shapes not only your dreams, but your entire spiritual journey that night. You're not just going to bed, you're stepping through a portal, and portals respond to frequency. We've been conditioned to see sleep as passive, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Sleep is an active event in the unseen world. You are moving, perceiving, encountering, absorbing. And what you experience, though often dismissed as just dreams, can leave marks on your emotions, clarity, and even your health. Have you ever woken up after a dream and felt changed, lighter, or disturbed as though something followed you back? That's because something did. Memory, energy, or insight, the residue of the realm you visited. Sleep is not a break from reality. It is a brush with your soul's true habitat. And so the question is no longer, what happens when I fall asleep? The real question is, Am I ready to remember where I go and why? Because once you accept that you leave your body every night, you must also accept that what awaits you out there isn't random. It's a mirror, a message, a map. And now that you've begun to open your eyes to what truly unfolds as the body rests, it's time to explore where that astral road leads. If sleep is the doorway, then the astral realm is the landscape that lies beyond it. This is where the soul travels when it detaches from the confines of the physical body. It is not a place of fantasy or invention, but a dimension of reality that is as structured, layered, and alive as the one you inhabit while awake. Perhaps even more so. Ancient traditions have always spoken of this realm, though with different names. The Duat in Egyptian lore, the world of Yetzirah in the Kabbalistic tree of life, the subtle planes in Hindu philosophy, and the mundus imaginalis described by Islamic mystic Ibn Arabi. Despite differences in language, they all agree on one thing. The astral plane is the field where thought becomes form, where emotion becomes environment, and where the soul is faced with the raw projection of its own vibration. In esoteric philosophy, the astral world is divided into layers, some bright, harmonic, and filled with beings of light, others dark, chaotic, and built from the unresolved shadows of the human psyche. This segmentation isn't moralistic but vibrational. Like attracts like. As above, so below. The frequency of your inner state determines the quality of your external experience. This is why fear, guilt, or anger before sleep can lead to oppressive or disturbing dreams. These are not random firings of a sleepy brain, but rather direct encounters with the lower astral, dimensions populated by parasitic entities, symbolic trials, or energetic fragments we haven't yet integrated. Conversely, entering sleep in a state of peace, gratitude, or devotion aligns you with higher astral zones, often marked by luminous landscapes, sacred geometry, or encounters with guides and teachers. Spiritual masters have long warned against dismissing dreams as irrelevant. Carl Jung, deeply influenced by esoteric traditions, taught that the dream is the voice of the unconscious, communicating through archetypes. But many mystics go further, claiming that what we call dreams are not internal at all. They are experiences in parallel planes, symbolic reflections of real interactions, encoded in metaphor so that our waking mind can process them. What makes the astral realm unique is its responsiveness. In the physical world, time and material laws govern creation, but in the astral, manifestation is immediate. Thought creates structure, emotion shapes color, texture, and sound. You might think of someone, and they appear. You might feel shame, and the environment darkens. This is not allegory. This is metaphysical law in motion. This responsiveness is both a gift and a test. For those who awaken within the astral, lucid dreamers, seasoned meditators, mystics, the ability to navigate it consciously is a powerful spiritual tool. The astral is a school, a mirror, and a realm of deep healing. But it is also layered with illusions, distractions, and thought forms that can trap the unaware. Encounters on the astral plane vary. Some report meeting angelic beings, ascended masters, or guides who transmit messages, healing, or insight. Others face symbolic challenges or revisit traumatic events to release their grip. These experiences are never meaningless. They are orchestrated by the higher self, or what some traditions call the oversoul, to catalyze growth and remembrance. In Gnostic texts, the soul's journey through the astral is described as a series of initiations. Each layer crossed is a confrontation with an inner blockage or illusion. Only by facing and integrating these can the soul rise to the next plane. This mirrors the idea found in Tibetan Buddhism, where the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth, is not just for the dead, but can be accessed during sleep. In both traditions, the journey is a chance for liberation. Modern research supports these ancient claims in surprising ways. At institutions like the Monroe Institute, participants trained in astral projection often report similar structures, beings, and lessons, even when isolated from each other. Such consistency suggests that the astral is not imagined, but discovered. It exists, whether or not we understand it. So how can you begin to recognize it in your own life? Start by paying attention to recurring dream symbols, strange locations you seem to revisit, or people you've never met in waking life but feel inexplicably connected to. These are often signs of astral recall. Keep a journal. Set an intention before sleep. Ask to be shown something you need to heal, or someone you need to forgive. The astral responds to purpose. Above all, remember, the astral realm is not separate from your spiritual path. It is part of it. It holds the keys to deep transformation, but only if you walk through it with awareness. And the journey doesn't end when you wake. In fact, the most important part may be what you bring back with you. The next chapter will reveal what lingers after the return and how to decode the wisdom of your nightly travels. When the soul returns from the astral, the body often wakes before the mind has fully landed. That hazy in-between moment, when you know you've been somewhere, but the memory is dissolving like mist, is not forgetfulness. It's a consequence of dimensional mismatch. You've just traveled through a reality made of light, symbol, and vibration, and now you're trying to re-enter a world made of matter and gravity. This return is not always seamless. Sometimes you wake up with clarity, energy, and inspiration. Other times, you feel heavy, anxious, or even disoriented. These are not just emotional residues. They are energetic imprints from the dimension you just visited. Much like the body absorbs nutrients or toxins depending on its environment, the subtle body, your energetic field, also absorbs and carries the vibrations it interacts with. If you visited a higher astral zone, you may bring back intuitive insights, downloads of guidance, or spontaneous creative inspiration. If you lingered in a lower vibration space, the emotional residue might show up as unexplained sadness, confusion, or fatigue. But this exchange is not passive. With awareness, it can be decoded. In ancient dream temples, priests and priestesses were trained to interpret the symbols and energies brought back from the dream world. They believed dreams were messages from the gods, or dispatches from the deeper self, and their purpose was to instruct, guide, or heal. In the temple of Asclepius in Greece, people would sleep on sacred grounds to receive healing visions from the divine. Upon waking, their dreams would be shared with spiritual guides who helped them extract meaning, action, and remedy. Today we've lost this sacred practice. We dismiss dreams as noise and rarely pause to ask, what part of my soul was speaking, and what is it trying to say? One of the most powerful tools for reclaiming this connection is the dream journal, not just to record images, but to track emotional states, patterns, and recurring motifs. Over time, you begin to see beyond the personal narrative and into a deeper symbolic language, one that links directly to your inner archetypes and spiritual path. Let's say you dream of flying over a vast city. That may be a signal of ascension or an awakening perspective. If you're being chased, it may indicate a shadow aspect you're resisting in waking life. These interpretations aren't fixed. They are invitations to self-inquiry. The key is to observe your emotional response within the dream. That response is the true message. And what about those moments of waking with a brilliant idea, a new direction, or a sudden knowing? This is what many mystics call a spiritual download. You didn't reason your way to that clarity. You received it. In sleep, the ego relaxes, the filters dissolve, and the soul becomes receptive to higher intelligence. You may have met a guide. You may have entered a zone of pure wisdom. And what you brought back could change the trajectory of your life, if you pay attention. There's also a phenomenon many people report but can't explain: déjà vu. You walk into a place you've never been, speak a sentence you didn't know was coming, and feel the eerie certainty that it already happened. Some mystics believe these are echoes from the astral, scenes first experienced in a dream state, now aligning with physical reality. Others say it's evidence of simultaneous timelines or of the soul remembering its own pre-chosen path. This brings us to a deeper truth. What you encounter during sleep isn't random. It's aligned with your soul's curriculum. That strange conversation, that symbolic room, that forgotten city, They may all be echoes of lessons you're meant to integrate in waking life. The challenge is not just to recall them, but to act on them. Just as we carry physical experiences into our sleep, stress, excitement, grief, we also carry back what we experience on the other side. The soul doesn't differentiate between dimensions. For the soul, a dream can be as real as a conversation in the supermarket. The impact depends not on location, but on vibration. The ancient Hermetic axiom states, "As within, so without. As above, so below." The dream world and waking world are not opposites. They are reflections, mirrors. When you begin to see the spiritual architecture behind both, you unlock a new level of awareness. So if you've ever woken with a feeling you couldn't explain, a heaviness you couldn't place, or a clarity that came from nowhere, don't dismiss it. You brought something back. The question is, what will you do with it? And what if you could make this journey not just unconscious but intentional? What if you could train yourself to wake up while you dream, to navigate the astral as a conscious traveler and return with purpose? That's exactly where we're going next. Once you understand that sleep is not an end, but a passage, you are faced with a profound question. What if I could stay awake while I sleep? What if your nightly departure from the body could become a conscious act, a spiritual journey navigated by intention rather than accident? This is the path of the conscious traveler. Lucid dreaming is one gateway. It begins when you realize, within a dream, that you are dreaming. In that moment, you awaken inside the astral realm. The environment responds to your will. You can fly, walk through walls, meet guides, explore temples of light, or ask to see a future timeline. But beyond the fantasy, lucid dreaming has a deeper purpose: self-mastery. The dream becomes a mirror in which your every thought, belief, and fear is instantly reflected. It is a perfect training ground for your soul. The ancient Tibetans developed entire spiritual systems around this concept. The practice of dream yoga teaches the practitioner to retain awareness through the transitions of sleep, dream, and even death. The goal is not entertainment, it is liberation. By remaining conscious in all states, the practitioner learns to transcend illusion. Life and death become part of the same continuum. This is echoed in the Upanishads, which describe the dream state as a subtle dimension where the soul communes with universal truth. Another path into conscious sleep is astral projection, which differs from lucid dreaming in that the separation from the body is deliberate and often initiated while still in the waking state. Many who've trained in astral projection describe the vibrational state that precedes it, a buzzing, humming, or intense energy throughout the body, sometimes accompanied by sleep paralysis. While frightening for the unprepared, this is a natural part of the process. The consciousness is loosening its attachment to the physical, preparing for departure. Techniques for inducing astral travel vary. Some use the rope method, imagining themselves climbing an invisible rope out of the body. Others rely on audio frequencies like binaural beats to alter their brain state and ease the shift into theta or delta waves. Breathing techniques, mantras, and even focused visualization can serve as bridges. But the common thread among all effective methods is intentionality. The desire to awaken, to explore, to know. This is what opens the door. Once outside the body, the astral traveler often finds themselves in familiar yet fluid environments. Dreamlike landscapes, replicas of real locations, symbolic temples, or realms of pure color and vibration. Some meet guides, figures of light, ancestors, or archetypal teachers who communicate not with words, but with pure knowing. Others visit healing chambers, receive energetic recalibrations, or relive past life memories embedded in the fabric of the soul. These aren't fantasies. They're metaphysical interactions that can ripple into waking life in profound ways. Perhaps you've had a sudden moment of emotional release upon waking, a feeling of closure about a wound you never consciously processed. Or maybe you woke with a blueprint for a creative project, a decision you'd struggled with suddenly made clear, or an unexplainable sense of peace. These are signs you've traveled consciously, or semi-consciously, and received information or healing from the subtle realms. This is why spiritual hygiene before sleep is essential. Your bed is not just a place to rest, it is an altar. Your pillow cradles not only your head, but your mind's gateway to the cosmos. Cleansing the energy of your space, expressing gratitude, praying, meditating, or simply breathing with intention before sleep can raise your vibration and calibrate your path through the night. The modern world has conditioned us to see rest as unproductive, dreaming as meaningless, and sleep as merely biological. But nothing could be further from the truth. Every night, your soul seeks reconnection with Source, with guidance, with yourself. You are not just a body that sleeps. You are a consciousness that travels. When you begin to honor sleep as sacred, you will notice the difference. Your dreams will become clearer. Your energy will become stronger. Your decisions will come from a deeper place, not logic alone, but inner knowing. This is spiritual alignment. This is soul awakening. So tonight, before you drift into sleep, ask a question, set an intention, call on your guides, declare that you are open to truth, to healing, to remembering. Not every night will be dramatic. Not every journey will be conscious. But the more you practice, the more you open the path, and the more you remember. And as you awaken, keep your heart open to what lingers. Symbols, emotions, visions, clarity. These are not leftovers from dreams. They are seeds from the soul. Because sleep is not an escape. It's a return. And if this truth resonates with you, I invite you to become not just a dreamer, but a traveler. One who dares to explore the unseen and bring its wisdom back to the waking world. If this message spoke to your soul, leave the word traveler in the comments to let the universe know you're ready to remember. Share this with someone whose dreams are trying to tell them something, and explore the next video in this journey. Your next gateway might be waiting there. Let's keep walking between worlds, together.